This is the Colorado Center for the Blind Mountain Mural by Ann Cunningham. And here is our host, Dan Burke.
Colorado Center for the Blind's Colorado Mountain Mural by Ann Cunningham, which was installed on the premises for our 25th anniversary celebration on September 13th, 2013. It is 12 feet in length, 36 inches in height, with this beautiful oak frame around it. And so I'll describe the elements real quickly. So we have the in black slate, 6 of these state emblems that are located around the frame. Along the bottom is the Great Plains, is the green onyx, and the mountains are made of red travertine, a whole different kind of stone, a different texture. And you can see, if you can see this, you can see that these mountains have white snow caps, the Rockies do, which are made out of white marble. And then the sky is made from blue limestone.
This image illustrates the eastern edge of the Colorado Rockies as seen from the plains in Colorado. The southern or the left-hand side is our border with New Mexico, and the northern side to the right is our border with Wyoming. The scale is 1/2 inch equals 1 mile, so it's 140 inches wide.
So we have a numbered key, and this is number 1, the Colorado Columbine. So the Colorado Columbine was named the state flower in the 1890s. School children actually voted on it, and then the legislature adopted it. And the state flower, the columbines grow in shady areas in the mountains. And specifically the state flower, the one that's referred to is the one that's white and lavender, which you can find up in the mountains.
This particular image illustrates a face-on illustration at the top, a side view in the middle, and then a leaf at the bottom. In the middle, at the top of the image, we have number 2, the state flag.
Okay, well, state flag was adopted around the turn of the last century, and it has 3 horizontal stripes, the top and the bottom stripes being blue, and the center one being white. So on this particular relief, the blue are real smooth, and then the white is much more textured. And so then in the center of the state flag, like on the left-hand third of it, is the letter C, and that's in red. And the red, white, and blue are the colors of the stars and stripes. And then and that's more textured, and then you can feel the gold disc. This represents the gold disc that's in the center of the C.
Number 3 is the lark bunting.
All right, I'm going to switch sides here. So the lark bunting is the state bird, and these birds flock out in the plains and nest on the ground. The males are noted for their dynamic aerodynamics, because there's no trees or anything, so they sing their courtship songs and do quite a courtship dance in the air. Okay?
Number 4 is the hair-streaked butterfly.
This is like the newest. The state insect was adopted in the 90s, like 1990s, like 96. And these have like a purple, is it purple on the outside of their wings, and then like an iridescent, or is it black on the outside and the blue?
Black and iridescent blue.
Right. And then they have little orange highlights in the corners of their wings, which you can feel. You can feel on the relief. Okay. That's everybody's favorite.
Number 5 is the greenback cutthroat trout.
Greenback cutthroat trout. So this was adopted in the 1990s as well as the state fish. everybody assumed that the rainbow trout was the state fish in Colorado. I certainly did growing up, but it was never officially adopted. It's not a native fish. And the greenback cutthroats were thought to be extinct, but they found some populations of them way up in Rocky Mountain National Park. And so fisheries biologists have been trying to, breed more of these and then spread them around more and more in the upper areas of the state. That is a native fish.
Our sixth state symbol is the bighorn sheep.
Yeah.
Number
Everybody
6.
knows what the bighorn sheep. Bighorn sheep love high mountain areas, and they have the big curled horns. Both the males and females do, but the males' horns are much bigger. Actually, they can weigh up to like 30 pounds, just the horns alone. And they're known for button heads. I guess the males are. So that's their state mammal, bighorn, Rocky Mountain bighorn sheep.
Next, we'll go through the Colorado mountain ranges and peaks, and those go from left to right, 7 through 17.
So number 7 on the key is the San Juan Mountains, San Juan Range, which I'm kind of tracing here with my hand. They run west of the San Luis Valley. So and they run basically from up around roughly where like the Arkansas River cuts through the mountains down into the northern part of New Mexico. Number 8 we have are the Spanish Peaks, and the Spanish Peaks are 2 peaks that kind of stand out in front of the mountain ranges, and were used for a long time. Different groups used them as sort of landmarks to guide themselves by. The next mountain range is the Sangre de Cristos, and they run north and south into New Mexico as well. They actually, the Spanish Peaks are in front of the Sangre de Cristos, and between the Sangre de Cristos and the San Juans is the San Luis Valley in central Colorado. So the wet mountains are a range that run between very much at the edge of the plains. They get a lot of precipitation. That's why they're called that. So they are also east or in front of the Sangre de Cristos as we're looking at it here, and they run. It's a short range, kind of runs between roughly where Pueblo is and the Colorado Springs. And then we move over to what's next?
And Pikes Peak, right there.
Oh yeah, Pikes Peak. So Pikes Peak is one of our 14,000 foot peaks, and it's right outside of, it's 10 miles from Colorado Springs. It's obviously a major landmark, part of the Vista, etc. One of the earliest places that European settlement came, forts and whatnot, or fur trading, etc. So that's Pikes Peak. Let's see now. We're gonna go over here. What number was Pikes Peak? 11. So number 12 is the Ramparts. The Rampart Range is a sub-range of what's known as the Front Range. And the Front Range starts about, north of Colorado Springs and goes on up into Wyoming, and we'll run across that marker up here in a little bit. But the Ramparts kind of are in the southern section of it, a sub-range that goes, up almost to the, where the Denver area is. 12 on the key is Mount Evans, and Mount Evans is another one of the 14,000 foot peaks that are right along the front of the mountains. It's only about 15 miles from Denver, and it's quite a striking part of the Denver skyline for sure. And then we'll move where are we at now? Is this
14.
14? Yeah. So this is the Front Range marker, and so we have the sub range over here, which is behind me to my left is the Ramparts. This whole area, moving north, is known as the Front Range. There's some smaller ranges behind it, and then we'll get up into. So this is the main part of what we know as the Front Range area, which includes a lot of cities and stuff along here, ski areas, old mining areas, etc. up in the mountains.
Back one.
Back
Up.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So now we have Longs Peak, and Longs Peak is yet another 14,000 foot peak, right in the southeast corner of Rocky Mountain National Park, just kind of over in this area, and a very popular climbing area. I've been on top of it. Let's see. 16 we have the Mummy Range. And the Mummy Range is the short little range, about 15-20 miles long, way back up on the Continental Divide, from about where Trail Ridge Road goes over to, I believe it's Rabbit Ears Pass, is it? No, maybe it's not. But it's not a very big range in terms of size, but it's a small range. And then we're going to go over to the Laramie Range, which is the last mountain range thing. That's a sub-range also of the Front Range. So we have on the south the Ramparts, and on the north the Laramie Range that extends up into Wyoming. On the north end here we have Fort Collins, which of course is the home of Colorado State University. And to depict Fort Collins here in bronze is this Avery House, which was built in the late 1800s out of native sandstone. It's quite a stunning. It's a museum now. Quite a stunning bit of architecture. So then we go to, is Greeley the next one on the list?
Mm-hmm. It's up a little bit.
Oh, it's up a little bit. There we go. Greeley, which is, you can see a little bit south and east. And Greeley has the Centennial, Centennial Church as its icon there with some cows. Of course, Greeley is known for its feed and slaughter business with respect to cattle and so on, going back a long, long ways. It's still a major beef processing area. And then we'll go to Loveland, which is west of Greeley. And Loveland is, we have here a small little bit of the, representing the Benson Sculpture Gardens in Loveland, which were founded in 1985. Loveland, it's a major art center, and there's several foundries that do all kinds of bronze casting. And this is actually depicting the sculpture that's in the park. There are 139 sculptures in the park. It's called The Conversation by Madeline Weiner. So now we're in Boulder, and Boulder is right up against the mountains here, and of course this is the Flatirons over here, as Ann was pointing out to me, outside of Boulder. And Boulder is the home, of course, University of Colorado, and also this is the NCAR building, or National Center on Atmospheric Research. It's where the storm chasers, sort of that we know of, that's where they are centered in Boulder. And let's go now. We're moving go to Denver. And Denver, of course, is the capital and the biggest city in the state. And let's see. So here, you can feel the Capitol. That's the Capitol Dome. Over on the left side is the Cash Register Building, an iconic building of Denver. And this is the New Hamilton building of the Denver Art Museum. Also iconic. It's got this sort of flying, I don't know what you call it, flying Sonic burger kind of a thing. We can cut that out maybe. It's cool, but it's it's very modern, very, very modern. Okay. Next on the south, going south here, we got out at past Denver, and we're going to look at, well, of course, Littleton. Most famous, of course, because it's the home of the Colorado Center for the Blind. And this is the icon in bronze for this city is the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad Station, which is at the light rail station. Denver and Rio Grande obviously doesn't run anymore. It hasn't been used as a passenger depot in decades. However, and it is known as Romancing the Bean at the light rail station, where just on the other side of just behind, just north of where we're at here, or excuse me, just west of where we're at here at the Colorado Center. So that's Littleton. We'll move down now to the next city of any size is Colorado Springs. And Colorado Springs is icon has two things on it. Colorado Springs is the second largest city, of course, and it has the Colorado School for Deaf and Blind, which was founded in the 1870s originally, and the land that they're on was given to the state sometime after that. And then also the chapel of the Air Force Academy, which is located in Colorado Springs. All right, let's move down here to Pueblo. Pueblo is Colorado's steel town, and it's still steel town. And this icon is the Rosemont Museum. Now it was built as a home and was used as a home. It's like 30 some rooms or something. I can't remember now. It's used as a museum now. It was a home for 75 years for the Thatcher family in Pueblo, and it's obviously a landmark in Pueblo. And then we'll go down further south to Trinidad. And Trinidad is a small town, famous, and everybody knows about Trinidad, but it's a small town. It's less than 10,000, and this is the firehouse number 1 in Trinidad, which was built as a firehouse when the town was first established, in the late 1800s. So that takes care of our cities and towns. We start on the rivers. So we typically refer to it as the Purgatory River. It's flowing out of these mountains down here on the southern end of the state, and eventually we'll meet up out of the picture with the Arkansas. Now we got the Arkansas. This is actually my favorite part of the whole thing is the rivers. I don't know why that is. So the Arkansas comes out of the mountains, kind of north of where these southern ranges all start, and actually right next to where we don't have on here is Canyon City, so which between the Springs and Pueblo, and the Arkansas runs all the way to the Missouri, and it's a major river because it drains the southern part of Colorado, the Colorado Plains, but it also drains rivers from New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, goes through Arkansas, etc., before it empties into the Missouri. That's something like 1,400 miles long. We're going north, and we're going to find Interstate 70 runs from out of Kansas across the Central Plains into the mountains. It heads up through the Eisenhower Tunnel and all the major famous ski areas, Aspen, Breckenridge, etc., are just off I-70. And the last section of I-70 was finished just, the last section of any interstate was finished just in the 90s, and that's a stretch in the very high mountains back there. So then the South Platte is our next river. South Platte actually comes out, it forms in South Park. There really is a South Park. And the South Platte flows down out of the mountains. It flows through Littleton, flows north right through Denver, and keeps going north. All the rivers that come out and creeks that come out of the mountains in this area flow into the South Platte ultimately. And so once it gets out east of Greeley, where it connects with Big Thompson and the Poudre, then it flows to the north and east into towards Sterling and Julesburg and out into Nebraska, where it meets the North Platte at North Platte and becomes the Platte, and then goes on to the Missouri River from there. So from the South Platte, the next river we have on here is the Big Thompson, which forms in the Rocky Mountain National Park. Then there's way up high, and it flows through Rocky Mountain National Park and Estes Park, and then there's a North Fork that comes from the north, from the Mummy Range area, and flows into it. They meet in the mountains at Drake and flow out through the canyons, the very narrow canyons that are noted for their devastating floods, a couple of devastating floods, and then flow out and meet the South Platte, south of Greeley. And then the last river we have on here is the Cache-la-Poudre. My French is terrible, I apologize. But it comes out of the northern mountains of Colorado, actually, and then flows through Poudre Canyon, and then meets with it goes actually to the north part of both Fort Collins and Greeley, and then meets the South Platte east of Greeley at the point where the South Platte turns to the east. And that is a summary of the mural and the key.